California Speedway for the running of the I can't even read. AmeriQuest 300. I don't know what I was trying to say there the first time. I saw what I was trying to pronounce, and I was not going to say the exact word. I don't know what I was exactly going to say. I'm glad I didn't follow through on it. Might have been something that could have gotten me kicked off of YouTube. Who knows? But needless to say, we are live. And again, California Speedway AmeriQuest 300. 150-mile or 150-lap, 300-mile race here tonight on this 2-mile oval. Earlier this season, take a look, finished second place behind Kyle Busch. Busch only has one win so far this year. It was at this very racetrack, site of his first career Cup win, oddly enough. And 11 laps led for ourselves earlier in the season as well. We will qualify in this race. That will be on this stream. And, yeah, without further ado, we're going to get into this thing. Honestly, considering where my setup was at earlier this year, I think I'm just going to leave it the same. We'll see where we qualify. I don't think I qualified for this race earlier this season. I think I started at the back of the pack, so hopefully that means we'll do a little bit better this go around. Wade, thanks for tuning in. First down in the chat below. All right. No practice, obviously. Shades of NASCAR 2020. Well, we are qualifying, though, so. In that sense, it is a little different. I can't believe I just scraped the wall coming out of the pits. It's me trying to get used to the analog stick. It's only been 24 hours. Since the last stream. I don't think we're going to have anything for the pole. I'm going to be completely honest. I tend to lack straightaway speed on these 2-mile ovals, Michigan, California. Of the intermediate tracks, they're probably my worst. So it is good that we are coming off a max points day at Bristol last night, leading 241 of 250 laps. All but 9 laps led. Tony Stewart did not lead a lap, but he did finish 4th after starting 2nd, and us obviously starting on the pole. See, 7th on lap 1. I think I could pick up on lap 2. I'll be more aggressive from the exit of turn 4 to try to get down to the apron, but I don't think that's going to get me 6 positions. Trying to be more aggressive with the apron, too. Late in the run, not going to be able to run that apron, but try to do my best to maybe try to hook it here in qualifying. It's at least enough grip down there for the short run. Yeah, this lap should be better. Wow! I picked up that much on lap 2. I didn't see what the lap time was on the first lap. That second lap, I barely got it, by the way. I got to look at that time again. I'll let this scroll all the way through at the top of the screen. That was close. I barely got the pole. But I didn't think I had enough for it. I can't believe I picked up that much time on lap 2 from the first lap. I got it by 13 one-thousandths of a second. Tony Stewart qualified 8th. So let's get into this. I don't know that we're going to have the speed to be able to stay up here either, but at least we got it right off the rip. Green flag's in the air. And Ryan Newman gets the initial launch on the start. Same for Mark Martin in second. Aaron Crocker. There's Tony Stewart. Don't hit me, don't hit me, don't hit me. Don't hit me, Tony. Don't do it. Biffle's down there, too. We got too many cars around us to be doing that. Well, at least we kept Stewart behind us. I think Newman's going to lead the first lap of the race. Boyer to the inside of Crocker to get back to 3rd. So 2 spots lost on the opening lap of the race. Did not fire off well. And going for the lead on the bottom of the track is Mark Martin, but Newman does lead lap 1 by inches. Mark Martin has finished top 3 in the last 3 races. 2 max points days with a win at Watkins Glen in Michigan. But last night at Bristol, he did not lead any laps and ended up finishing back in... Oh, boy. You give me room, please. He's not even a rival, but it looked like he was trying to turn me. That was more than a side draft. I held my line. It just looked like he came straight down the racetrack into the right rear. Yeah, I saw your message already. You man, I can't talk. It's been like this for a couple days now. I'm starting to question what's going on with my brain. What I was gonna say was that I saw your comment on another. I don't know if it was yesterday's stream but I saw a comment prior to the stream today. Could have just messaged me back that you had read it. Didn't have to come here to do it, but. Well, the weird thing is I got way more sleep this weekend, I'd probably say, than I usually do. Maybe it's too much sleep. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Not a doctor, clearly. All right, lap 4, trying to take the first lead of the race. Clear up turn 4. Clean pass on Mark Martin. So despite qualifying on the pole, it did take 4 laps to get to the lead, but we did get there eventually. It's our third different leader in these first 4 completed laps now. And I'll do what I can up in the front of the field. I just don't think I got the straightaway speed, not with drafting help in front of me, to be able to stay in front of these guys for very long, but we're in crunch time late in the season. We got to lead as many laps as we can on top of winning. And I see Tony Stewart's already driven up to 5th as well, so he's probably going to join us at the front of the field very soon. Yeah, we even had that extra hour of sleep this weekend too. Daylight savings. I wasn't just including that. Like, I did actually sleep in on Friday and Saturday. I guess you could say technically Sunday I slept in, considering I woke up at 8 o'clock, but it would have been like 9 if it was a weekday. Or normal day. I think that was Matt Kenseth in the 17, one of the Roush Fenway Fords. It looked like an identical paint scheme to that of Mark Martin behind us, which we know that Kenseth runs the Pennzoil scheme in the Busch Series on this game. We've definitely got more speed here than we did earlier this season. I only led 11 laps earlier this year. We might eclipse that in our first fuel run. Stewart is up to 3rd. He's going to make 2 passes in 1 corner. He gets by Busch, gets by Newman, nearly 3 wide back there. But he was able to clear in the center of the corner off. And Boyer blocking. Stewart's going for 2nd. Maybe he's got enough speed to try to power by the 2 of Boyer. Blocking the outside for now. Stewart with a run to the bottom. Now Boyer will block it into the corner. Stewart is cleared for 2nd off turn 2. They're starting 8th. He has caught the pole sitter. And it only took 7 laps. And there he goes for the lead. Boyer crowds him going into the corner. Almost turned himself. That was on me. I crowded him. I was way too aggressive there, and I almost bit it too. Can't burn the rear tires off of it this early in the run. We're now trying to get back by Stewart. A lot of contact. I'm blowing this right now. I'm racing way too aggressive with him. I gotta settle down. Just made him ticked off again. Well, my car's still at 95%. That's not bad. Could be worse. I could have flipped. Could have ended my race right there. Oh my gosh! I did it again. I've damaged the right front. Well, now I just killed it. My right front's in the red. I think I hit the wall the first time. And now my car's just extremely tight. Got this race up in our notebook as to how not to start a race from the pole. That was a tight pass to get by Sadler. That time it stuck. We did make the pass for fourth. Stewart's not going to be an easy pass, and I'm honestly scared to pass him with how damaged the right front fender is. He may try to take a swing at us. I think now is going to be our first field pass, maybe. Look at that. Chasing us all the way to the apron. I didn't know how much lower he was going to go. I was committed to driving into the grass at that point. Trying to get away from him. I go to the outside, he's going to pinch us into the wall. I go to the inside, he might end our race if he hits me in the right front hard enough. Now that my right front's soft after hitting the wall twice. Sadly got back by through turns 1 and 2. That was an aggressive move to get to the apron. Very loose, luckily clear. I really need to dial it back before I wreck this thing in the early laps. Oh my gosh. These Busch races are shorter, but it's still a long race. Frank T29, thanks for tuning in. Frank T92, sorry. I had the number flipped. Oh, Stewart may try to take a swing again. Just got to be careful with him. I'm so scared. I'm so scared. Lose so much time going down there, but I'm trying to find a way around him without him hitting me. We might have to just take our first field pass in this race sometime soon. Stewart making a pass for second on Kyle Busch. Mark Martin's out in front. Stewart still hasn't let... Or wait, no, he did. I think he did, yeah. Never mind. He did lead one lap. So he has gotten 5 bonus points. Boyer led a handful of laps from the pole right off the rip, but... Now we're back in traffic a little bit. Scared of the boogeyman. We talking about the wrestling boogeyman? That guy was just weird. Sticking worms in his mouth. Eating worms, bashing a clock over his head. Very loose, by the way, through 3 and 4 on the apron. I burnt my tires up already. 16 laps into this run, I've already burnt my tires up. Hang with these guys in the draft down the straightaways. It's keeping me with them. You're talking about a different boogeyman then. That's not the boogeyman I grew up with. Race in real life was a night race? Yeah, it was, I think. I do believe you are correct. What? It is a day race today. A day race at night. Don't hit me, don't hit me, don't hit me. Oh, he hit me. We're good. Oh. Oh, I don't want him to get underneath me. Go, just go, just go, just go. Jesus. I was letting you by. And he still tried to sandwich me into Mark Martin. Now Mark Martin's upset with me. Come on, man. I literally let him go. He still hits me. And now Mark Martin's upset with me, too. My right front fender's soft. I don't want to wreck out of the race already. And now he's about to take the lead. I might lose the draft for Mark Martin, too. Might be all she wrote for a while. Somehow still caution-free in this one. I don't know how. I really didn't want a short pit to repair the damage. I'm glad the right front fenders held on to this point. I really needed to stay attached to the car. But the more hits we take on it, the less likely that's going to happen. I know I should probably stop driving on the apron with how burnt off my rear tires are right now. I'm just trying so aggressively to get back up to these guys. The more they keep passing each other back and forth, though, it is slowing them down enough for me to be able to keep up with them. I was right there until I made that slight contact with Kyle Busch off turn 4, and then Stewart got right back underneath me again. Do you need Twitter or email or something? I need to... Oh, if you're talking about the Fantasy League, you can just message me on Instagram. I'll be able to get a hold of you there. Assuming you win. You do have to win still. Top 2, I guess, technically. This time around for the Fantasy League. But yeah, I'll keep in touch with you during the off season. Especially if you were planning on going to like an early season race next year, so that way I can make sure I get you the tickets. Corbin Butler, thanks for tuning in. Happy Election Day. I didn't know it was I mean, I guess it could be a positive for some people. Depends on how you look at it, I guess. I don't care enough to think whether it's positive or negative, to be completely honest. Oh. Tried to sign in at the beginning of the year, wouldn't let you sign in. What are you talking about, the Fantasy League? You can sign in whenever you want. Like, you can join, like, now. If you already had an account and you're not able to sign in, you'll just have to try to find a way to get your password recovered. I'm sure there's something they could send to an email. If you forgot your password or something of that nature. Or change your email or something, then you would probably just have to start a new account. I would like to think we repair this damage on the right front, get new tires on it. I think we'll be able to get the car back underneath us again, because it was quick until we started picking up damage. We're not going to be able to repair all of the damage, but it won't be in the red once we make that pit stop. Just trying to make it to that end of that first run. Doing the league again next... Yeah, I plan on doing it annually. It's a way of me being able to give back to you guys, the fans of the channel, for doing those prizes, you know, every year for that. It's a fun way of doing it. So I've always been competitive, you know, growing up and stuff. So it's a way to keep the competitive nature going. Yeah, because this is the third year I've actually done this. I ended up actually winning the first year, so I didn't end up giving up anything. But yeah, the last 2 years I haven't won, obviously, so. Yahoo League. I don't plan on doing any. I don't want too many leagues. Like, even when I played fantasy football and still do, there's people out there that have like 3 or 4 leagues every year, but then at that point you have so many different players and you're just rooting for everybody. I don't want to do that. Yeah, top 2. This time around. Usually it is just a champion, but last year inside Uranus he won the playoffs and the regular season, and he couldn't get enough time off of work from what he told me via messaging on Instagram that he wasn't going to be able to go to 2 races. So he picked the Las Vegas race just a few weeks ago, actually, was the race that he was going to use, and he said he was going to give up the playoff spot. And I tried to get him not to do it at first because he earned it, but then he said he was going to give it up and let somebody else, you know, use it. He'd like to see somebody else try it, so that's why I'm giving the top 2. And oddly enough, he's like in contention to end up winning it back again anyway, so he might not even end up losing it, honestly. Finishes P1 or P2, but that gives the opportunity for somebody else, even if he does finish first or second, to get them that chance. Right back underneath Tony Stewart again. Not able to stay alongside of him. He was able to get enough of a draft off of Mark Martin just up ahead. Martin's trying to take back the lead from Boyer. Each of these top 4 have led at some point in time in this race. Oh, we got a chance here. Stewart. You kiss my ass. I'm glad he got the worst of that. He's really trying to end my day. Now we got to get by Mark Martin. He fell way behind, by the way. He might still be in 4th place, but he is way behind. Race for second. The top 4, really. Like, the top 4 are just on top of each other right now. Have been for like 3 or 4 weeks. It separated a little more after this week, but I've never seen it this tight before. There was one year, I think last year for the regular season, it was close. It was like 20-something points going into Daytona for the regular season title, but it was only between 2 people. Like, this is between like 4 people. Luckily enough, there's 2 spots, at least for the, you know, sake of those that are in the race for this prize. Speaking of fantasy sports, by the way, my work league, I should not have won this week. I was up by .22 going into last night. I had nobody left. And the guy I was playing at, Xavier Worthy, wide receiver, slot receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs, scored him -1 points. I ended up winning by 1.22. I couldn't believe that. I went to bed before halftime, and I saw I was actually up still by .22. Because he was at negative when I checked at one point, because I didn't watch the game at all last night, but outside of like the first drive. But I happened to check my fantasy score. I'm like, I wonder for shits and giggles if I was still up, and I was. ESPN League, yeah. But it's a PPR league though too, so I mean, all he needed was 1 more catch. Well, at that point, at -1, he would have needed 2 more catches, but I mean, he literally needed 3 yards going into the game, and he ended up with -1 yard rushing, I think. And I think that's why he ended up with -1 point. Either that or he fumbled or something. Like I said, I didn't watch, but something clearly happened. I cannot believe that. Still in first place because of that, too. I should be 6-3, but instead I'm 7-2. I would have been tied for first after this week, and I think I still have the most points, but what a break. Oh, boy. Oh, boy! Are we done? We're still in it. Oh, my gosh. I don't know how I didn't DNF there. That was a hard hit. Talk about fantasy sports, and then... I mean, I was clearly down on the apron with my rear tires completely burnt off the car. Well, caution's out. And we are outside the fuel window, but we clearly have to pit for damage. That, unfortunately, I think is going to hurt the car, though. 8.5 seconds off the lead. It snapped. I overcorrected that so badly. I could have hit more head-on in the turn 4 wall. Yeah, that looked ironic, though. Who has done that recently? It looked like Kyle Larson at Atlanta. That's what that looked like. It just like slightly slid loose and it snapped right back to the right head on. I hit probably more head on. He hit more right front. We have 3 cars out of the race, by the way. Not because of that incident. The only thing that caution does is it gets us more inside the window to make this four, and it probably still is. But how badly did I just kill this car? Casgrala Dover? Yeah, you know what? That does kind of look like that, too. I do remember that crash. I mean, it was like sideways, turning right to go left, snap! And it was just like right back up into the wall. My goodness. Yeah, I knew I burnt the tires off of it early in the run. I shouldn't have been down there. I was trying to get to the lead. It was right there. It's going to take a lot to get back up there again, because you'd have to imagine hitting head on like that. I took some speed out of this thing. I already wasn't the fastest. I wasn't the fastest as it was, and then you put that into perspective. And gets Tony Stewart his track position back. Right there with the leader, unfortunately. Mark Martin's still out in front from the restart. God, get off of the apron. I still have the same tires on it. For the sake of not having the unfair advantage, that's why I didn't pit for fuel or tires, because nobody else came to pit road. Especially because nobody else came to pit road. And they're going to end up pitting as soon as they get to lap 50 so they can get to within the window to make this thing on 2 stops. I need to get fresh tires back on this thing ASAP. Give me those freshies. They're so far off the lead. I can't believe 3 cars are out of the race already, though. We're probably going to have a lot of engine failures in this one. The fact that we have 3 cars out and we're not even 50 laps in. That was the first caution. I don't think anybody DNF'd from that wreck. Kyle Busch hit me in the right side pretty hard, but he probably kept his track position. We might even get a debris caution for him, depending on how much damage he might have had. Well, I was there, and he hit me. I'll tell you what, I'm not catching a break from these guys when I'm trying to make passes. Or they're passing me, like, I'm just getting crowded. Even on cars I'm way quicker than. It's an aggressive slide up the track, but I was clear. I really don't know how I didn't DNF. I couldn't have hit that wall any harder. I think if I would have hit more on the right front, I think I definitely would have DNF'd because the right front was already in the red. And I hit that wall a ton. I should be in the infield care center right now. I should not be still in this race. Oh, we got somebody else blowing up. Man, 4 DNFs now. I could have been 5. Got 4 guys out of the race in 41 laps. Lake Great 2 Mile Auto Club, yep. Things are still jam-packed and tight. I got loose off turn 2. I'm still trying to catch it. I'm still trying to catch it. How did I save that? That right rear was... I mean, that was a terrible time for it to go into the yellow on the tire wear indicator. That thing snapped on me coming out of the corner again. And then when I hit the apron, it overcorrected back to the right, and I kept it off the wall somehow. I lost a ton of time. Get me to lap 50 and get me fresh tires back on this thing. Oh my gosh. I knew we had a capability of this race being tough today, but my goodness. I just got to take care of the tires. If I don't overdrive the car early in the run, it won't be like this. I was overdriving the car so badly those first 10, 15 laps that I was starting to pay for it once we got 30 plus laps in, and now I'm just struggling. Tony Stewart just took the lead that last lap, by the way, as well. Which is not good for us. Major penalties for Chastain, Dillon, and Wallace. Is there actually? I did not see of anything yet today, but I know Tuesdays are usually the days that they come out with that kind of stuff in the news for NASCAR. So maybe they've announced something midstream that I haven't seen. I know as of me, like minutes before the start, I have not seen anything, and I actively looked as soon as I got home from work. I did not see any updates on anything yet. So if anybody has any updates on that, in specifics, let me know in the chat. Public league, yeah, it's public. If you're talking about NASCAR for the fantasy, yeah, you can join at any time. Unless you're talking about my ESPN Fantasy League, that is not public. That's through my work. It's only people that either used to work there, that are still friends with our commissioner, or that still work there. Hopefully we get another caution at some point in time in this race. Might be asking for a lot. We haven't seen a lot of yellows recently. 2 races ago, those 2 dominated Mark Martin races went caution-free. And then we fast forward to last night. We only had 1 caution at Bristol on lap 80. Nothing else the rest of the day. And then I caused the only incident, getting loose off turn 4 and heading head-on into the wall. It's getting loose again. I'm really trying not to snap right. There was a car to my outside. If I would have snapped right that time, that might have actually been it. That go around. Ugh. A lot of traffic up here, too. I mean, there's still some speed in it. The fact I'm this loose, if I can just get the handling dialed in. I mean, they say loose is fast if you can hold on to it. This thing's a little too loose. Three wide right in front of us. We got cars pitting right now. That's pretty early. I wasn't trying to turn there. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Almost clobbered Casey Mears. My car was so loose, it just kept hanging a left off of turn 4. Oh, we got trouble. Got a car against the wall, or was against the wall. No caution. That would have been awesome if we would have gotten a yellow. I need a caution. The fact that this thing's as loose as it is, I do not want to have to pit this under green. Gonna have a hell of a time trying to back this thing up off turn 4. I'm right there. My gosh. Ron Hornaday. The struggle's real. I'm suffering tonight. Oh, don't do that, dude. Oh, jeez. I was already loose. Oh, I didn't know he was there. He was on fresh tires. He was getting up to speed. I might as well pit this time. Try to. Don't speed. Oh, gosh. We made it. We made it. Give me 4 tires. Please and thank you. Oh, my gosh. I'm sweating. That was a miracle. We lost a lot of track position after starting on the pole in this race, but we made it. I got to lap 50. I probably should have went one more lap for fuel's sake, but at the same time, jeez. I got a slow pit stop, rear tire changer. Having problems. Yeah, we're definitely going to need a caution to get back into this race at some point. Now just take care of the car. I have to not make contact with anybody the rest of this race. Ideally. If I don't make contact with anybody, I'll save the tires. Don't drive it down on the apron. Just no apron. And no making contact with anybody, and I think the tires will hold up. And if they don't hold up on this run, then I'm obviously going to have to make major... Hoping that a caution comes out, especially being at the back of the pack now. Well, not right now because I'm a lap down, but once everything cycles through, I'm hoping we get a caution, because now that I'm at the back of the pack, I won't have to worry about losing track position, pitting, and everybody else staying out, trying to make it on one more stop, knowing that this is a fuel mileage race. Obviously, there's going to be some drivers that are going to be plenty good on fuel, because we got quite a few at lap 52, 53, but there were some that pitted a couple laps before I did. Easy, thanks for tuning in. Or Asaya Z, I should say. But, yeah, Blaney is the man. Hopefully he's the man again this weekend. I'll tell you what, I went from complete heartache, almost 2 days for me to get over the Homestead race, to we're racing for a championship. I'm pumped. I do think the biggest threat to Blaney personally this weekend is Logano. I really think Penske's going to win the championship again. And this is playing out almost exactly how it did last year, in the sense that the flat tracks, it's Ford last season. This season, it's Ford and Christopher Bell, who are great on the flat tracks this year. But Christopher Bell's not in the championship 4 anymore, so I feel like that only leaves Logano and Blaney. Reddick was good on the short run there. Are they using the option tires or are they using the primary tires? Does anybody know? Because if they're using the prime tires, I think that'll probably help a Byron or a Reddick for track position's sake. But if we use those option tires again, I mean, Blaney's just got the long run speed on these flat tracks, and that's why he's so good, because we get a lot of long green flag runs. Yeah, a la Iowa earlier this year, Pocono, Martinsville last week, Martinsville last year, Phoenix last year. Like, they're all ending on long runs on these flat tracks, and he's just got a long run car every time. I mean, the only thing that could really take him out of it is if we get a late race caution. But that's another thing too, because if we're using the prime tires, he might not suffer as much on the short run versus if we were using the option. Like the option this weekend, there's a reason why he was so far back. I mean, granted, his pit crew didn't help him on that last stop, but there were a couple times in the race where he had fallen, you know, battling Keselowski early in a run, and then the Hendrick cars would get around him on the short run. Elliott, Larson, Byron, they would get around him, and then he would go from like 5th or 6th, Hamlin would too, and he would drive right back up to 2nd before those last green flag pit stops in the middle of stage 3. There we go, we got a caution. Looked like trouble off turn 4. I saw some smoke trailing up there. Oh yeah, it was definitely off turn 4. What the heck happened? We had cars against the wall. We had cars spinning like a top down to the apron. Dale Jr. was in it. The 138 was in it. While we're coming to pit road, give me those fresh tires. I'm going to tighten it up a little bit more. It did feel a bit free early in the run. Not anywhere near as free as it was at the end of the run, but I'm going to have to do something because I think it is going to build free again. But now we're plenty good on fuel. Put a half a round of wedge in it for now. If I need to go more, I'll do more. We're going to obviously have to pit one more time because we're way outside the window, but we're back in it. As ugly as that first run was, that caution puts us right back in the driver's seat. Well, maybe not the driver's seat quite yet, but got to find some speed. Not worried about anybody. I mean, the only person I am worried about is Logano, because they are in the same equipment. You know, I look back to 2022. Although Blaney, I think, was quicker that day, Joey was obviously right there. And being in the same equipment, they're going to be on top of each other the whole race. So it's going to be about execution when it comes to, you know, when to pit, on pit road execution on the restarts. Not making a mistake and losing a ton of positions, which is easy at Phoenix. All right. Well, if our car wasn't fast enough before, these fresh tires are definitely going to help. Well, we don't really have that many laps fresher tires. We had some guys pitting about lap 52, 53. Oh, we got trouble again. I think it's debris. Well, we might as well come back down, right? I mean, I'm already back here. Yeah, we might get a few debris yellows. One of the fantasy drivers, but I see Dale Jr.'s got quite a bit of damage, too. I'm not going to pit for tires again, but... Well, you know, yeah, why not? I mean, it doesn't hurt. Well, this race is definitely getting prolonged with all these cautions coming out now. Now we just got a flurry of them. Caution free for about 39 laps. Now we have 3 of them. I'm sure we'll see more debris yellows on top of it. I'm taking advantage of this. I mean, I'm at the back of the field. I did give up a little track position. I was 33rd, but give me those tires. We don't have any limits. Speaking of which, I think I will try to challenge myself a little more also when we go to NASCAR 08 again and give myself tire limits per race. I did that through the Heat series. I haven't really done it much in these older EA games, but up the ante a little bit. It is kind of fun to do that personally when you're doing a full race because you do have to strategize in races like this where we get cautions. And it's like, all right, I don't want to throw too many on. Like, obviously, I wouldn't be pitting, back to back like that, but like if I have, 4 sets the whole race, we are going to have to try to stretch it once or twice. I did put another half round of wedge into it again. Green flag back in the air, lap 65. And, yep, there it is. I figured we were going to get another yellow. I'm still trying to figure it out. See, now it feels like it's pulling a little more to the right. That was the Dale Jr. debris yellow, so I was waiting on that. Don't know if it was his hood or his front bumper, but it was something. And, it's like the 138 car simultaneously lost his hood as well. It's our 4th caution. Last 3 races combined, we had 1 yellow. We've had 4 of them already today. We're not even halfway. Keep coming on down. Picker's getting a workout. Gonna put the wedge back to where it was. It did feel like it was pulling more to the right. I mean, I'm not even up to speed yet, but I'm doing what I can. I have to do baby adjustments at a time. My Instagram username, honestly don't remember. I think it's Keegan Schneider _YT. I haven't posted anything in a minute, so I'm not exactly sure off the top of my head. Oh, I do see 21 minutes ago from NASCAR about the penalties. I'm going to read that real quick, actually, while we're under caution. Give me one quick second. Let me get the Instagram. Yeah, it's all lowercase. All lowercase, my name, Keegan Schneider, same as the YouTube channel, then _YT. Yeah, penalties for the 1-3, 23. Violating the NASCAR member code of conduct, Martinsville, crew chief spotter of each car, as well as the executive from each organization have been suspended from Phoenix. Loss of 50 driver and owner points. And owners of each car fined $100,000. Well, yeah, I mean, it is a big penalty in the sense that they gave them a big penalty. Obviously, none of those 3 teams were in championship contention. So I don't really know where that's going to drop them. They were all out of, none of them qualified for the top 16 in the playoffs anyway. But I know, Chastain was hovering around 16th. I wonder how far that's going to push it back. Yeah, so Chastain drops from about 17th to 19th in points. I think they've already updated this. They had to have, because there's no way. Well, no, they haven't yet, because Bubba Wallace is in front of him still. Okay, so they have not updated it. 50 point. Actually, they're so far ahead of Kyle Busch. I don't even think they're going to lose any spots in points. Busch has a chance of catching them this weekend for 18th in points, but I think they're still going to be ahead of him, though. Yeah, they're both going to be ahead. So they won't actually lose any spots in points. And then the 3 team was 33rd already. And he will be passed by Nemechek. So now Dylan's going to be 34th in points following the penalty. Didn't he get a points penalty for the Richmond deal too? Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised that those three teams, obviously that were involved. I think the only reason the 20 and the 24 weren't involved, I haven't listened to anything with, spotter, crew chief, driver communications on the radio, but there was proof of it on the radio, or at least weird proof of it with the 1-3 and the 23 team, which suggests to me the 24 didn't know it was going on. With Byron in front of the 1 and the 3. Maybe, I mean, behind the wheel, you see them kind of log jam, and maybe after 5 or 6 laps, you could probably get the gist of, oh, they're probably holding back for me. But knowing that there wasn't communication with them, and the fact that it was two different teams, it was Trackhouse and RCR, and it was more of a manufacturer, deal, I'd say, rather than a team-by-team thing, I really don't know if the 24 was involved, and you can't prove that, which is probably why they didn't get penalized in any way, shape, or form, and I'd say the same for the 20 as well. Like I said, you could assume that it was the case, but there isn't, clear proof of it, which is why I think that they weren't reprimanded in any way. Now, it was at the expense of them. That was why these other teams had done what they did from the manufacturer side. But yeah, that's got to be why they didn't get the harsh penalties. Byron keep his spot in Phoenix. Yeah, I didn't think that was going to change at all, personally. Jeff Burton in the 50. There we go. Hey, good for him. I did not fire off on that restart very well. We might get another debris caution yet. You would have to imagine whatever fuel mileage race this was before one caution, it was still going to be tight for some teams. We're at 40 yellows now. Back to back to back. In fact, like they had to have saved gas during that. Obviously, us topping off during every single one of those cautions. And now we have fresh tires, which again, really green flag laps. I only have like maybe 8 lap pressure tires at the most. So I don't know that I'm necessarily going to like whip through this field. But it's got to be at least a better advantage than what we had. And we made adjustments to the car, which we needed because I felt like I was too loose. I said I needed one caution, and we got plenty. So now we need a long green flag run to see how this is going to play out. Especially with the side of things, knowing that our tire wear is what it is. How much better is it going to be? Can it sustain long run speed? We kind of need a long run to really figure that out. So that way, if I have to make more adjustments, I can. Because we are guaranteed one more stop. Whether that be later or before everybody else. Jeff Gluck with a bold tweet. What's his bold tweet? I will say Jeff Gluck seems like all over the place with his takes. I feel like he's never like... I don't want to say he's a fence sitter. But he does seem It's like he'll have like a controversial take that most people don't agree with, and then he'll have some that like everybody agrees with. Penalties weren't enough. Oh, no, don't do this again. Okay, I didn't hit the wall as hard that time, but I still hit the wall. Man, oh man. Just gotta take my time passing cars. I think this is what it boils down to. Take care of the tires, Keegan. Got the setup. I gotta take care of the tires. Yeah, it might be. I mean, I would hope that there still could be a future for, you know, at least Harrison to get back into the Cup Series, but we haven't really seen Jeb. Is this going to be his debut? I would imagine he's had to have made like a Cup start at some point, but like maybe for like the BK Racing days or something. If you're talking about for those teams specific, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Hitting every car now. Maybe I am a little too tight. That could be some of the problem. I wasn't really in traffic until now. How would I do a tire limit? Just depending on the length of the race. Oh, we got trouble. One car upside down. And another caution. Yeah, I was waiting for that. He was driving on his left side for about a quarter mile, and then the caution came. Still going pretty fast, too. He's moving. 137. I didn't see how it happened, but I saw the smoke, and then when we passed the car, he was like that. It's our 5th caution of the race. Jeb Burton drove BK. Okay, so I thought I remembered that. I think we top off again, honestly. I mean, we only gained a couple positions there. Maybe I can get away with taking the wedge completely out of it again. That fine line of being too tight or too loose that I'm trying to find. I almost wonder if every time I'm pitting, I'm repairing more damage than I would have had before, and that's probably why the car is starting to maybe act more normal on top of the setup changes. Put Bowman in the final 4, add Larson to make it 5. Bowman wasn't even in the round of 8. Yeah, just imagine the outcry that would happen. It's like you thought we were Hendrick Homer before, putting William Byron in. Put 2 Hendrick cars. I instantly thought too when like in the heat of the moment, them putting William Byron into the championship 4, I'm like, oh, 24 cars, Jeff Gordon, 2013 all over again. As he's standing next to William Byron in person, too. Man, what a wild race tonight, by the way. I feel like I haven't talked about the race enough, but it's been a wild one. Green flag back in the air, lap 79, just topping off on fuel again. Really just trying to get the setup right. It was way too loose on that first run, and so just desperately trying something every caution we get. We're definitely not going to make it on fuel the rest of the way, but we can get to about 20 to go with where we're at right now. That can give me a good chunk of laps led. I don't know that we're going to be able to eat into Tony Stewart's most laps led. This could be the day Tony Stewart finally gets his first win. 27 races into the season. He's second in points, only 69 back. And he's got a chance to finally win his first race. Thanks for everybody tuning in, by the way. We got an influx of viewers. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content, live commentary streams on the NASCAR race weekend, and obviously the video game stuff during the week. Daily NASCAR channel. Talk all things NASCAR news during these streams during the week. As we were doing seconds ago with the breaking news midstream. 2015. Yeah, I definitely remember him running for BK. Glad that was doubled down in the chat. Because, he's been around in NASCAR for a minute. He was in the truck series in the early 2010s. Because I can remember him running truck races when, like, Harvick was still running KHI. And he would run trucks every so often. Might have even been under RCR banner, too, at one point. He might have been running truck stuff at that time. Well, now we probably have closer to 15-lap green flag tires, give or take. And Mark Martin just took the lead on this restart from Tony Stewart. Go, Mark, go! Trying to keep the Roush Fenway dominance alive. If he wins this race, he's going to have 4 wins in 10 races. That's like my level of dominance in the wins column. Hey, clean pass for position there. Haven't had that long run since the initial start. It went 39 laps caution-free, and that's the longest green flag run we've had was that very first one. We've had 5 cautions in this race now. They're about to be 4 wide right in front of us. That guy backed out of it. That was a smart move. Oh, that wasn't smart. We're moving, though. You can definitely tell we've got a better advantage on our tires now than what we had before. Got that extra, like, half a dozen to maybe a little more than that green flag laps on top of what we already had. That might be the difference maker. Took that half round of wedge out of it. Getting blocked for 30th. Have we finally gotten the car where we needed it to? All the damage repairs. All the changes to the car that we've made. Back and forth and then some. Just trying to find the right balance. Is this it? Can we drive to the front of the field? I'm not even old enough to run for president. I think you have to be 35. I think it's the minimum age. Kyle Busch back in the lead. It's been a long time since he's led in this race, but he has led before, and he won the first California race earlier this year. That was his only win on the season. So he's trying to get the sweep. Gotten halfway through the field. This is the run we make up the most time. Odds of Byron winning the championship? Honestly, I think he's the least likely of the 4. For the sake that he's been to the championship 4 again, that experience, I think, is maybe a little bit better for him over Reddick. But the Toyotas did, as a whole, look a lot better in the spring Phoenix race than Hendrick Motorsports did. So I feel like he would be the odd man out. I really think Kyle Larson, if he was in the championship 4, would have a much better chance of winning the title. Like, he would be the guy. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, can't burn these tires off. It was an aggressive move to try to take it 3 wide there, I'm not going to lie, but he did turn down into me at the same time. We'll chalk that up as a racing deal. Wild race. The old Auto Club Speedway continues onward. Still got a couple field passes left to get through. We might as well start to get through them here pretty soon. I don't want the AI to self-pit my car. Save a little bit of gas doing that, although I don't think we're going to save 20 laps. But I'm really hoping that we've got the balance right. Another reason why I need to not make contact with any cars. If we only have to go 20 laps or less to make it to the end, there's a chance we try to just give ourselves like a fuel-only stop or something of that nature, or right sides only, put just enough fuel in it to make it to the end. Harvick outside 3 wide, entering turn 1. I'm going to stay up there. Jimmy Johnson in the middle. Couldn't tell who was exactly on the bottom. It was fantasy driver of some sort. Couldn't hold it. What am I driving down into him for? A little leanage. Pass for 12. Where's Jeff Burton at? Is he ahead of this or behind it? Oh, he's behind it. Guess I do remember passing him with Boyer. Deep dive to get by Danny O'Quinn Jr. for 22nd. I mean, these guys probably saved so much fuel under those cautions. Not as much as me topping off during every single one, but I'm all right driving on the apron with Jeff Burton. He's got enough grip to go down there and get it. He's probably managing his tires a lot better than I have. He just ran the fastest lap for RCR today. It was a little too low. I had to work my way back up the track somehow. Almost making contact. 3 wide there for a brief moment. No, not trying to... What the hell? We're good. Sorry, Daddy. You know, I mean, oh, man. Maybe I short pit as soon as the run opens and try to gain even more time. instead of going no tires the rest of the way. Or rights only. Because at some point I'm going to have to... I'm going to want a chance to at least compete for the win. Or keep Stewart out of the points lead, for instance, with him leading if he does win. We got to get a solid finish. I think I'm going to pit at lap 100. I think we're going to pit as soon as this window opens. Get me out in clean air, even fresher tires. Let it rip. Sorry. Couldn't get off of him. I was scared he was going to wreck again. Especially considering I made contact with several drivers already in this run. I don't know that I'm going to be able to go the full 50 and have the tires underneath it again. How do I not get bored, old NASCAR games? 7-win seasons every time. Well, I mean, if you look at the point standings, it's still tight. Even with 14 wins. Because Tony Stewart, every time I win, is like top 5. Second, third, fourth. So when I have an off race, he's still right up there like he is right now. He's leading, even though he hasn't won. It's competitive the whole time, because even with the NASCAR heat games, I'd win a lot of races, and the difference is there I'd rack up so many playoff points. By the time you get to the playoffs, I'm like an automatic championship board bid almost every time, and then it's just a matter of trying to win the championship in the championship race, which is always an ordeal, but you know, there's not as much like stress in the playoffs, like the playoffs would basically what they're supposed to create. Because I have so many freaking playoff points because I win like 17 races in the regular season or something ridiculous like that. Maybe not that many, but like, you know, like we have here, 13, 14 races and a 26 race regular season is just... I'm taking all the wins away from everybody else, so they're not getting any playoff points. I'm getting most of them. I mean, there's definitely some races, you know, I dominate quite a bit, but I just try to take advantage of it and have fun talking to you guys through the night and talking some NASCAR and trying to keep my head in it. I cause myself to wreck because I'm not focusing enough, which I've done before. Yeah, I'm definitely going to pit this time. Up to 11th. J.J. Haley's pulling down. He might be pitting this time, too. Might have other drivers doing the same strategy we are. Hans Good had a big wiggle. Up the hill he goes. Boyer's going to try to get all he can here coming into the pits. Oh, man, I almost missed it. We got there. We're good. Almost missed the pits. No adjustments here. 4 tires and gas. I'm glad the car was able to turn once I got out in the grass. Truex penalized for spin gate. Now that part of it, I guess, is a good explanation. Well, I think he was... I'd have to go back because I don't have like all the information I need to answer that question because I can't remember exactly what all the radio calls were, but I think it was a cohesive unit by Michael Waltrip Racing as a whole, and they were able to pinpoint and connect the dots between each of those instances. I'm trying to block for my life. These cars, oh geez, they're splitting around me. I'm not up to speed yet. Get me out of that. Oh, wow. They were not going to give me room, were they? All right, now we got cars pitting. So we got other drivers doing the same thing we're doing here. Short pitting, window open. I don't know how much time I'm actually going to gain with that. Get out of my way, Dale. Blocking me when I have like 50 lap pressure tires on him. Don't hit me either. Don't do it. He's crowding me. He still doesn't even have a hood. But there was no like radio communication from what I've heard or seen so far through this whole ordeal from Martinsville on Sunday to indicate that the 20 and the 24 were specifically in on it. I think that's the difference of why Truex was reprimanded for the Spingate deal versus the playoff deal. I'm assuming that that's why NASCAR took the stance that they did with it. Because that would be the only logical explanation to me as to why they didn't. And why I kind of figured going in that they weren't going to either. Well, we definitely need this to stay green until everybody pits. So the worst thing about short pitting is you're going to be a lap down for a little bit. And we have had a lot of cautions in this race. 5 of them. Tony Stewart's still out on track. Right around 9th place when we pitted. Wasn't a clean pit road entry. I probably gave up a little bit of time. Truex definitely pitting. I think Yaley would have wanted to pit if he wasn't in the outside lane. Stewart's on pit road that time. He just gave up the lead. Hans Good in front of us is now out in front. And I believe he's the next car in front of us, so we are the first car 1 lap down. Not sure if Yaley had already pitted or not, but looks like Good's coming into pit this time, so we'll get our lap back. But we are in the free pass position. Well, not anymore. Now he just passed the car again. Around the bottom, but we'll get back on the lead lap anyway right here. So, all right. Now the caution comes out and doesn't bang us as badly. I mean, I'd still like to cycle all the way through because I think we'd end up losing spots still if we don't cycle all the way through this. Quite a few cars on the lead lap behind us that have not pit yet either. Truex Jr. getting up to speed on the bottom. The racetrack. Trying to get a little extra draft down the back straightaway. Got to pass cars cleanly, though. Knowing that we do have to go a full 50 laps. Can't burn the tires off of the race car. Still 43 laps to go. A lot of time. Jeremy Mayfield on the track is now out in front. Boyer with a move to the inside of Truex. Not quite clear yet. Still side-by-side back straightaway. Now clear into turn 3. I think Darlington for a championship would be pretty cool. I don't think they're going to move it off of the Labor Day date, but as a racetrack itself, I think it would definitely work. Once we cycle back around the 06 and there's another car too on pit road, ultimately I don't know if we're going to actually get any positions out of this. We were in 9th. I think we're going to cycle right back into 9th again. Field's definitely spaced out. Now on equal tires as the rest of the field for the most part. A couple laps here and there. .8 seconds back. Still 40 laps to go. Boyer going to make a pass on Aaron Crocker and Hans Good in one corner. 2 clean passes up to 7th. Tony Stewart cycled back to the race lead at the front of the field as well. We need some teamwork here, Brian. Try drafting with Vickers to get up to Elliott Sadler, help us down the straightaways, because that is where we're lacking. It's 3/10 quicker than Stewart that last lap. Prefer if Vickers ran the bottom of the track, not the top. I could probably just pass him if I am fast enough. If he starts to hold me up too much, I think I'm going to have to try to. I might as well go for it. Oh boy. Well, he crowded me on entry, but then he gave me more room in the center. Boyer's up to 6th. Might be close enough to get a draft off of Elliott Sadler. It's up to tell for sure. I don't want the 57 to get back underneath me, so kind of have to get away from the draft a bit. The block on Vickers. Well, yeah, I mean, there definitely is a... There's always going to be a dirty air problem, though, with Darlington. It doesn't matter what the car is. It's always been traditionally hard to pass. It's always been a tire management racetrack. Hence the reason why a 500-mile race there, in my opinion, does work, because it's all about the driver who can save their equipment the best throughout the course of the 500 miles, keep it off the wall, keep the tires underneath it for a long run. It's a racer's racetrack, and you have to race the racetrack itself just as much, if not more, than you're racing the competitors. So Clint Boyer up to 5th. 3.9 seconds off the lead. Is there a chance we keep Tony Stewart out of victory lane yet again? He's going to try to take some swings at us if we get there. Definitely not over. Haven't gained much time on him these last 2 laps, so I really have to be perfect in the corners to gain enough time on the car out in front of us. Sadler's getting the draft on me on the back straightaway, gaining quite a bit of ground. Should have tried to break it a little more. Trying to get to the draft of this 22 car in front of us. That's why I'm going up there. As long as straightaways are keeping Sadler in, he might have a chance to get back at us again. Yep. I have to let him go. He had a big run on me. I didn't feel like trying to block it. Well, now maybe I can get the pole up to 22 and clear him. Nope, never mind. Spotter still said he was there. It's worth a try. We're both closing in on Kenny Wallace, though. Whether I was leading it or he was leading it. Might be able to work together and both get around him. I'm willing to do it if he can make the pass quick enough. I only have 33 laps to go. Got to get a move on. I know it's a lot of time at this racetrack, but... Oh, that was a big hit on Sadler. Kenny Wallace gets back by him as well. Not close enough to the next car up ahead, which I would assume is Mark Martin. By the way, just a great recovery in this race. If you've been here the whole time, this car was evil that first entire run. I had to survive to get to that 50 lap mark, which at the time was looking like a two-stop race, which it is for everybody but us. We had to make a lot of damage repairs after crashing the car. Trying to make some huge setup changes to get the car acclimated with the damage that we had, on top of how bad it was before the damage, and then with the damage it was worse. And the fact that we have gotten up to 4th place is honestly a miracle day as it is. After qualifying to the pole, I'd like to lead more laps, but you know, at least we led some. Tony Stewart's probably going to end up leading the most. It's just a matter of, can we catch him? They're a little aggressive with that line. Only got the left sides down under the apron, but it's stuck. But also, every time I do that, probably burning the left and right rear tire off of it just a little bit more. And we're still in the first half of this final tire stint. I mean, ideally, a track like a Kansas would be good for a finale. A Homestead, obviously, Homestead having that date for a long time, probably lean towards that more than a Kansas Speedway. But a racetrack like that, ideally, would probably be my personal pick for a Championship 4 spot. Especially with this car racing as well as it does on intermediate tracks. We need to get an intermediate track back on the schedule for the championship finale if we're going to keep the format the way it is. Well, even if it's not the same format, I mean, we had it during many different iterations of a format. We had it during a full season points format. We had that track during a, the current playoff era, the original chase and all that, all the iterations of it. I mean, you just want good racing to finish out the season. Give you something to miss during the off season. You see that and you're like, oh, I can't wait till next year. Not next weekend. 3 seconds back. We're 4.8 seconds off the lead right at the start of this run, so we're like slowly, and I mean slowly, eating into it. But it might take a little bit more than what we're giving it right now, honestly. Pitted right as soon as that window could open, so we are definitely going to be pressing it for fuel, but I think we're going to be okay. We come up to the start-finish line this time by 25 to go. We're exactly halfway through this fuel run. Or through the... Yeah. Well, now we're halfway through the fuel run. I'm like barely good on fuel. A couple hundred feet past the start-finish line, we hit halfway out of gas. So we're managing it well. It's tough to save when you're trying to press harder to try to catch the guy in front of you. It's going to be a great lap being in that draft behind Mark Martin. .229 that last lap. It was a good one. Honestly thought it was going to be up there with the fastest of the race. We had a 39.1 real early in the day. Well, we're going to try that strategy that I was going to do with Sadler there for a minute and try to draft with Martin to get to the cars in front of us. Might be able to save a little gas this way, too. That, and I don't want him taking a swing at us. Because if we lose a lot of time, I think that might be it for us. We don't have much time to lose. I think my favorite overtime finish was the Busch and Busch show at Kentucky, honestly. That's probably my favorite green, white checker / like overtime finish. Like, that was awesome. Side by side, leaning on each other for an entire 2 laps. Edge of control, hanging on to it. I mean, there could be some super speedway ones that are up there, but there's so many of them on a year-over-year basis. The fact that that was just some random summer night in Kentucky, that Xfinity Championship, obviously, with what was on the line, is definitely up there. Granted, it was a crapshoot, but it was cool to be there in person for it with the 2021 Xfinity finish at Bristol. That is... I've never seen anything like that before or since. Place was like half capacity with it being an Xfinity race at best, and it was still loud in that place with the fans cheering after it. You know, that might not have been overtime. It was definitely a 2-lap restart, though. I can guarantee you that. There was definitely 2 to go on the restart. 1.8 seconds off the lead. Martin's deciding to run this middle to upper line right now, and that's slowed our pace down and catching Stewart just a little bit. So I got to catch the second place car as well, which I'd assume is probably Kyle Busch. Kansas this spring. Well, I mean, it was the closest finish in NASCAR history. So. Yeah, it would probably have to be up there on my radar, too. Probably got to put it top 5, I would imagine. All right, 18 laps to go. Still got a field pass to get through, too. That'll help save us a little extra gas. Mark DeMars, thanks for tuning in. Championship race for Jimmy. I mean, if you're a Johnson fan, I can definitely see why. Definitely a lot of historical significance in it, though, too. Whether he was your favorite driver or not. Couldn't quite clear Martin off turn 4. Gonna clear him in 1 and 2 for third. I didn't feel like we were gaining time quick enough. Trying to pull out and make this pass. He didn't take a swing at me, thank the Lord. Kind of clinging on to Kyle Busch's back bumper. 10th quicker than Stewart that last lap. Maybe a little less than a 10th. It was a high 2, and then it was like a high teen, low 2, 1.2. Car's freeing up a little bit, but it's not bad right now. It's definitely drivable still. Got to be as steady as possible through the center of the corner to try and gain the most time possible. Not really close enough to get the draft off Busch. I think him being close enough to get the draft off Tony Stewart. Oh, that clip of the apron. That was costly. And definitely lost some time there. Overcorrected it. Oh, wow, I didn't actually lose time. Probably made up enough time through the corner before that. We've also had so many cautions in this race. We haven't even had lap traffic the entire day. I didn't realize that till just now. Yeah, Busch is definitely closer to Stewart than I am to Busch. .109. I'm picking up like a 10th every 2 laps. I'm hoping I can just have that big pickup when I get close enough to the back of the 5 and actually get a draft off of him. Honestly, we might need these two to get side by side up here. I'm slowly pulling Mark Martin. I don't really feel like I'm reeling in Busch at all, but we're reeling in Stewart. Hey, I'm really pushing this fuel. I might actually be about a quarter of a lap short now. Running out where I just did. 12 to go. Another reason why we're definitely going to need that field pass one more time around. Probably helps save gas. I think Busch might have lost ground to Stewart that last lap or so. We're 9/10 of a second off the lead at the line. Top three within a second of each other. It's going to be a long green flag run to finish this thing out. It's actually going to be from lap 79 is when we last restarted to the end. Definitely going to be the longest green flag run of the race. Longest before that was only 39 laps. I feel like I'm better in 3 and 4 than I am in 1 and 2. I don't know what it is, but I feel like I'm closer to Busch. Yeah, right rear's definitely wearing out still. It doesn't feel that bad, but could be better. Man, we are just... He's starting to pick time up. I think he just had a bad lap, and we were starting to catch him there for a little bit. Now he's close enough to Tony Stewart. He's drafting up to him. Stewart probably going to be mad enough to take a swing at us. He has a couple times already. Coming up on 9 laps to go. Oh, and he got tight. Through 3 and 4, pushed up the track. Try to gain that ground back now through the tri-oval. Top 3 within a half a second. It feels like it's more than a half a second by the eye test, but that's what our interval is indicating. Busch could just get side by side with him one time. He might be the best car, honestly, right now, because I feel like I'm closing in on Stewart, but I just can't get close enough to the back of Busch. He's looking low off turn 4, but I don't know that he's going to get there. Nope, not yet. Just can't get up off the corner quick enough, which is kind of my problem, too. And he's there now. Side by side for the lead. Kyle Busch, Tony Stewart. And Busch is not clear yet, but he may be able to clear down into turn 3. And he does. Boyer looking low. Stewart taking a swing. Just completely killed Boyer's momentum. 7 laps left. Another lapper. It's a little hit. He didn't hit us hard there, but totally slowed us down. Already lacking the straightaway speed. Slowed us both down, really. He does that. He's going to cost us both the race. Boyer's got a big run to the back of the 33. Looking low again, but now Stewart's... Oh, boy. Got loose. Oh, I just wrecked it. Oh, man. Mark Martin. Oh, jeez. I pulled off the wall because I was thinking he was going to be in that lane. I didn't look out of my rear view before I moved down either. He was probably there the whole time. I moved down thinking he was going to be coming up the outside. Oh, dang it. I wasn't trying to make contact with him, clearly. Well, 2 laps left. Martin's got a lot of damage. Stewart's going for the lead on the restart underneath Busch. Boyer trying to block for his life. These tires are shot now after that slide. Just wiggling all the way up the racetrack against the wall. 4 spots lost. I had no clue we were 4 wide, by the way, off turn 2. Chance to try to get some of these spots back again. Tony Stewart's about to win his first race of the season. White flag is in the air, final lap. Hopefully we got enough fuel to make it to the end. Didn't realize that there was going to be contact with Hans Good in the 180. He's up against the wall still through 1 and 2. Boyer hangs on to it after bouncing off the wall. I don't know if that caution put us past the scheduled distance or not, honestly. Boyer going for third. Too much of a drive down to the apron. Just tried too deep. Hold on for fourth, coming back to the line. Lost 1 spot on the race start. Could have been worse. I mean, I'll take it. It's a good recovery. Tony Stewart finally gets his first win of the season. Man. All I had to do was finish it, but I mean, at least we only lost 1 spot out of it. Tony Stewart wins. Max points day for him. We led 7 laps. He led 81. Over half the race. Took him long enough. He was a thorn in our side the few times that we saw him this entire way. The very start, the very finish, really. I Kyle Larson did. I was just pushing too hard and I wrecked. Because I was pushing too hard. That was the story of my race today. 2,213 laps led on the season. Another top 10, another top 5. It gives us 21 top 5s on the year, 23 top 10s. And Tony Stewart is now the 9th different winner on the season. Yeah, I did a Larson. I didn't have the car capable of winning. I was pushing too hard trying to get the win with a car that wasn't capable of winning. And I mean, we came back and finished 4th. I'm really not upset with the finish, honestly. The way the car was at the start of the race, it was kind of getting that way towards the end, but not nearly as bad. I just pushed it too hard. I was doing all I could not to wreck it, and I was losing time earlier in the race. So I did a lot to make that thing not as bad as what it was. And drove all the way back up to finishing 4th. A spin to 4th. It wasn't a spin and win, but it was a spin to 4th. I mean, it cost us 5 points by not finishing 3rd and getting 4th place instead. I mean, hopefully it doesn't come back to bite us. He'll lead into the lead a little bit. 0.2 of a second margin of victory. Average race speed 134.63 miles per hour. 2 hours, 13 minutes, and 41 seconds total time in the race. 6 cautions in this one. That's the most we've had in a minute. I don't know what the last race you have to go back to that we had a half a dozen cautions in. Especially with the Busch series. I feel like we'd never get yellows in this series anymore. Well, I didn't mute that. Probably getting copyrighted currently. What you gonna do? Not that I make much off of these streams anyway. Doesn't bother me too much. But, yeah, I mean, I'll take it. Didn't crash out of... Yeah, I mean, I very well could have DNF'd. That first crash I had back at lap 39 or right around there, I probably should have DNF'd. I hit that wall a ton. And, so just to turn that around into a 4th place finish, good for me. Good news is Richmond, probably my best track on this game. That's where we go to next, so it's a good rebound race. Not that I had a bad finish, but Tony Stewart getting the win here. Hopefully he doesn't try to wreck me right off the rip again. But he does eat into the lead. 25 points gained for Stewart with his max points day, despite us finishing in the top 5. If we would have finished outside the top 30, we'd probably be about 100 points back. So, good thing we were able to recover. Could have been a lot worse. Could have DNF'd and finished outside the top 40, and then I'd really be in trouble going into the last 8 races. So, the fact that we still have the points lead after today, again, we had a top 5, I'll take it. It's just, every race, I can't get over how far ahead of third place we are. I mean, this is unbelievable. I had a 7.5 average finish coming into the night. Let me calculate what it is now, because it's going to be even better than that. Considering I finished 4th, probably 7.4, I had to guess. Get out the old calculator. See, 1, 201. Yeah, 7.44. 7.4 repeating. So, from a 7.5 to a 7.4 average finish after tonight. I mean, we got a 7.4 average finish, and we only have a 44-point lead over Tony Stewart. Like, that's equivalent to, like, 6th or 7th in the next race, and he ends up getting another max points day. He's going to take the points lead from us. So, we have to be not good, but great to continue to have this. I mean, I've had it all season. Usually I'm winning and he's finishing right there, and races I am finishing good, but maybe not getting a top 5. He's finishing 2nd or 3rd still, and he's beating us. So it's, I mean, we flip-flopped quite a bit back and forth in points. We had as big of a 145-point lead at one point. That was about as big as it had been all season, but it also took us like 15 races to get to the points lead too, because I had that slow start. Daytona and Atlanta, the first 4 races of the year, I had 2 finishes 40th or worse. First 5 races of the year. Now that I'm looking back on it, a 40th and a 41st, and 2 of the first 5. And yeah, I mean, because of that, it took us all the way until about race 15. I think it was after Dodge Raceway. We finally took the lead, the second Dodge Raceway. And it's pretty much been back and forth ever since. I've probably given up the points lead here and there. Honestly, can't remember. Quite sure on that. But, man, oh man. His only DNF was at Daytona when I finished 36th. So, couldn't capitalize on it. We're either both finishing bad in the same race or both good. The only time it didn't happen since those first 5 races of the year was at Watkins Glen, where he ended up finishing 3rd and I finished 33rd. Kind of a race like tonight where I just couldn't get out of my own way. Well, no, that's different. I couldn't get out of my own way tonight. Watkins Glen, we were getting beat up. Mark Martin stuffed me in the wall. Didn't somebody wrecked me on a restart? I can't remember if it was Stewart or Aaron Crocker or somebody. Somebody turned me in the S's in that race. I lost all my track position then too. Like right after I got it all back, middle of the race, and I just never recovered. Dockside after Lowe's. Probably Old Spice Speedway. We haven't raced at Old Spice yet. I doubt it's Dockside. Because Dockside's Cup only, I think, on these EA games. So I'd assume it's probably Old Spice Speedway. And if it's anything like NASCAR 05 and NASCAR 06, probably going to be a long Old Spice Speedway race too. Not as long as the Cup Series. It's not going to be 5-6 hours, but it's probably going to be a 3.5 hour race. About a Cup race, but for a Busch Series. So yeah, Richmond and Dover, the next 2 nights. Both tracks we won at earlier in the season. And for the sake of Richmond, my best track on this game. So let's execute, try to grow that points lead out. Have a good rest of your Tuesday night, everybody.